Hi there, everybody. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
And Jolé Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet. And we'd like to welcome you to today's show where we are raising the vibration.
Thank you, Jolé. Yes, we are. We're raising the vibration. And this is continuing our humanity as a simulation. This is part 5. This is the concluding part to this. Now, I am back from my travels. I'm back from my travels all the way over to Mauritius, soaking up those Lemurian light codes. And yeah, fantastic time. But we're not yet quite live because this particular Sunday, when this premiere goes out, we have our event for family and friends who weren't able to make it as far as Mauritius to join us. So I'm going to be distracted again for a further week. But nevertheless, we've at least, this is only being recorded literally just before the show goes out to all intents and purposes. So it's great to be back anyway. So yeah, we're concluding part of humanity as a simulation. We got it backed up again by some amazing work that is done through the Wise Quotes team, as well as our Galactic Federation charms and our interjections along the way. And I think, to me, I find this so liberating and so empowering. And one of the things I did while I was over in Mauritius is I recorded a bunch of stuff that I could listen to on my headphones time and again and just sort of like ingrain a lot of these thoughts that are coming through about the fact that, if we are truly living in a simulation and this is a holographic projection, then what does that mean? How can we take advantage of that by now understanding the rules of the game? Because that's it. We're brought into this game. The veil of forgetfulness descends. We don't know what the rules are. Everybody else tells us what the rules are, but they're not the right rules, right? We're pointed in the wrong direction. So how do we turn ourselves around? This is a point that comes through quite strongly with this. And I think this is so liberating and so empowering. So I'm hoping you're going to love it. What do you think, Jolé?
Absolutely. I think this show is going to really take us and everyone else the other leg over the fence, right? To where you're going to hack the simulation and learn how within you to harmonize those parts of you, the negativity, the limiting beliefs. We can start playing with those like a cat does a ball of yarn, and we can change what the simulation is looking like. And then take that ball of yarn and throw it in the trash, right? Because now we're moving in a place and we're in a vibration where there's joy, there's abundance, and like I like to say, enthusiasm.
Yes, yes, indeed. And all that hacking the simulation, again, Jolé's guided meditation that finishes the program today will take us all in that direction. So, this, I believe, can be life-changing. It depends. Again, as always, you get to decide for yourself whether it's truth or deluded nonsense, of course. But for me, I know what side of the fence I go down there, and I am ready and willing, and I am already working on changing my perspective to shift things around. And I'm
Yeah,
so confident that this works.
it does. Let's go quantum.
That's exactly what we're going to do. Okay. Thank you, Jolé. And now we are going to hit the button and we're going to go to the first section of Wise Quotes. And yeah, just put your cranial retention helmets on because this will blow your mind.
You are not the temporary states you occupy. You are the eternal consciousness that moves through states. When you say I am poor or I am unworthy, you're confusing yourself with a temporary state. As Paul revealed in Romans, your transformation is already complete in the eternal now. Predestined, called, justified, glorified, all in the past tense. The kingdom isn't something you earn through good behavior. It's the recognition that you are the operant power, the imagination that creates reality. Every state exists waiting to be occupied. Poverty exists, wealth exists. Your imagination selects which one you experience. It doesn't matter how often you pray, but whether you imagine with conviction. Everyone has divine imagination, but must consciously use it. Every moment doubting your imagination is wasted. The power is already yours. Use it. Are you living in fear, or will you occupy your desired state?
The reality that you experience now operates through states of consciousness that exist permanently, waiting to be occupied. Neville Goddard discovered this principle By studying the scriptures without doctrinal intermediaries and testing it in his own experience for decades. States of consciousness are feelings and convictions that you assume as your current reality. When you feel poor and believe you are poor, you occupy the state of poverty. When you feel prosperous and believe in your prosperity, you have moved to the state of abundance. There are infinite states because each degree of feeling and conviction creates a different state. Feeling financially struggling represents one state, feeling financially comfortable represents another, and feeling like a millionaire constitutes yet another, completely distinct one. In his book, The Power of Awareness, Goddard demonstrates that you are never the state that you occupy. You are the consciousness that enters and exits states. The states exist as permanent addresses in an infinite city. Poverty exists as a state even when no one experiences it. Wealth exists available for any consciousness that chooses to enter it. You give life to the state when you occupy it, but the state continues to exist when you leave it. Your imagination is the power through which you move your consciousness between states. Goddard identified the imagination with the creative power that the scriptures call Christ, not a historical figure, but the divine capacity present in each person to select and occupy any desired state. In The Law and the Promise, he documents real cases of people who imaginatively occupied a state and saw the outer world reorganize itself to reflect that state. What makes this knowledge revolutionary is Goddard's discovery about the ultimate destiny of each consciousness. There exists a supreme state, what he calls the kingdom of God, that was destined for each person before the creation of the world. This is not a geographical place or a reward based on merit. It is the state where you operate with the divine consciousness itself, and Goddard affirms that you will receive it regardless of anything that you do or fail to do in this life.
Studying the scriptures without doctrinal intermediaries took Neville to a divine truth about who we are by not letting religious manipulation and power broking get in the way. I love this idea that all different states of existence are there for us and we get to choose which state we wish to occupy, whether it is based in poverty, abundance, fear, loneliness, or harmony and inner peace. We are simply the consciousness that enters and exits these states. So if ever there was a truth that sets us free, surely this is it. Total empowerment is ours. We can now decide on the states we prefer to occupy rather than drifting into less desirable states as a result of buying into the false matrix that is here to test us by encouraging us to believe in lack, fear, division and separation, care of the external narrative that we are constantly sensorially bombarded with, often from sources that we've been conditioned and programmed to trust as acting in our best interests. The solution does not exist outside of ourselves, it lies within. We are four-dimensional beings who have been taught to operate in 3 dimensions only. That missing 4th dimension is represented by our imagination, which is not mere fantasy as we've been taught to believe. It is the space from which we create our reality. Immerse ourselves in a wish fulfilled, using all our senses to touch, see, hear, smell, and taste that vision as if it already exists, and we are bending the very fabric of space-time to create that for us, and it is universal law that this be so. Within our imagination exists our Christ consciousness should we choose to activate it. We are the second coming, but our free will dictates what we do with that. Our own personal kingdom of heaven awaits anyone who desires it, but the activation must come not from wanting and lack, but from a place of a wish fulfilled, with consistency as another key factor to truly elevate our reality to that state that just awaits our conscious selection. Jolé, what would you care to add?
Wow, that was really profound unpacking, John. And I just want to say that you pretty much summed it up. But just for the ones who say, well, how do I do that? How do I find that abundance within? How do I utilize it? How do I get out of this or transcend this 3D world if I'm a 4D being? it begins kind of with the thoughts, really working to change them. A negative thought, a limiting belief comes in your mind. And instead of going down that rabbit hole or beginning to take on the energy of that, you want to flip it on its head. Instead, let's say you have a thought of, I'm afraid of death, or I can't find a job, or what was spoken about, which was poverty. The flip side of that is seeing yourself and immersing yourself in the energy of wealth throughout your day. You're on public transportation or you're driving. That's a great time to play with those thoughts and to feel the feeling of being behind the wheel of your dream car. And then taking that rabbit hole and saying, you know what, I'm worthy and deserving because I'm a child of God and I'm a creator. And that is the beauty of choice, being able to change and choose your perspective. And in and of itself, that is quantum. So if you just keep building on the quantumness of your thoughts and you begin to watch them and curate them, it speaks volumes for what your life is going to look like later, what your behavior is going to be, even in the present moment, how your body is going to respond. All of those things change once we realize that go within, change the perspective, change the, I guess, the film that the light is projecting through, and then life picks up momentum. Part two of that is to be specific as to what you want. And sometimes that takes time as to sitting down, writing it out, and carving out what it is exactly that you want. Because you can ask for what you want, right? And you can say, oh, please bring me a partner. And then you get your partner and you live 15 years together in bliss. And then all of a sudden, the person is no longer with us. So be specific. I want my partner to live life with me and us to be healthy and well together. Get into the details of your purpose. And that's another way with which to go quantum and to move into the energy of being a divine creator.
Yeah, absolutely. I was nodding my head as you were saying that, not that you could see it. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's building up that vision and then trusting, learning to trust in the vision.
Yes.
It is part of who we are. And
Yes.
as things manifest in the way that you've envisaged it, then you just get more and more confident and the whole process gets easier. So it's kind of going with it and working with it and making it a practice and just trust the process. So
Yes. I agree. And some people may be challenged. And to them, I say, within you, just create a beautiful oasis of a safe space somewhere in your body, like in the heart. You can close your eyes and visualize you being on a tropical island within your heart, right? And those frequencies, those energies and vibrations, they communicate to the universe.
beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Okay, thank you, Jolé. Okay, we're going to go back for our next sections of wise quotes.
There exists a passage in Romans where Paul does something strange with the verb tenses. He lists a sequence of events that most religions say will happen in the future, but Paul puts everything in the past. Those whom he predestined, he also called. Those whom he called, he also justified. Those whom he justified, he also glorified. He does not say that God will glorify you in the future. He says that God has already glorified you. For God, who exists outside of linear time, your divine transformation is already complete. You are merely experiencing in time what has already been determined in eternity. What does it mean to receive the kingdom? It is not gaining a place in heaven or receiving material blessings. When God gives the kingdom, He is literally giving Himself to you. You receive the divine nature itself as your nature. The scriptures say that God does not change. There is no shadow of variation in Him. If He has decided to give something, the decision is permanent and nothing can alter it. In His books, Goddard describes what He Himself witnessed when someone operates through this new state of consciousness. A man enters a hospital where people are dying. He does nothing consciously. He merely walks through the hallways. Terminal patients begin to recover. People in comas awaken. Wounds that had not healed for months closed in hours. This happens because in the presence of someone operating in the state of the kingdom, only perfection can exist. Are you thinking that you need to do something to deserve this? The preachers say yes. Goddard says they are completely wrong. Luke records the words, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." The crucial word is pleasure, past tense, concluded, decided. It does not matter if you were the most immoral person in the world. It does not matter how many mistakes you have made. The divine decision was made before you existed, and nothing that you do can change it. A man was broke, owing 3 months of rent, with no job prospects. He occupied the state of abundance. He did not wish for money, but lived in the feeling of already having all the abundance necessary. A week later, he received a letter informing him about an inheritance from a relative in Europe that he never knew existed. The amount was exactly what was needed to pay off his debts and start over with financial security. Why do some people receive the kingdom at 30 and others at 70? The timing has nothing to do with merit or spiritual development. Each consciousness has its predetermined moment, like a child in the womb has its gestation time. You cannot accelerate it through meditation, fasting, charity, or any spiritual practice. When your moment arrives, it will happen. Until then, you continue experiencing the limited states of this reality. Paul had an experience that reveals how this works. He said, "It pleased God to reveal his Son in me, not to me as if it were something external, in me as my own awakened consciousness." The Son of God that Paul discovered was his own imagination functioning in its full power. When this happens to you, you discover that you have always been God experiencing himself through limited states. The body that you receive is not made of flesh. Goddard calls the body of Christ a state of consciousness in which you function as the divine presence itself. In this state, you do not try to help anyone. You do not feel compassion in the human sense. You exist in absolute perfection, and that perfection manifests automatically in everything around you. It is like being the sun. The sun does not try to illuminate. It simply shines, and everything in its presence receives light. The scriptures promise specific transformations when someone operates in this state. Isaiah describes, "Blind eyes open, deaf ears hear, the lame leap like deer, the mute sing." Goddard insists that this is not religious poetry. These are literal descriptions of what happens when someone operating in the kingdom comes into contact with people in these limited states. Goddard had moments when he temporarily experienced this state. Complex financial problems resolved themselves without him taking any action. People with whom he had lost contact for years appeared at the exact moment he needed them. Opportunities arose from nowhere, not because he was manifesting or attracting, simply because in that moment he was operating in a state where only perfect solutions could exist. The absolute guarantee comes from a simple understanding. Before the world existed, before you made any good or bad choice, God had already decided to give himself to you. This was not a conditional decision. It was an absolute decision, sealed before time began. No sin can cancel it. No failure can diminish it. No doubt can delay it. The gift will come at the exact predetermined moment, and when it comes, you will discover that you have always been God himself, dreaming that you were human.
I'd like to think that those who have followed our series on humanity as a simulation are all in the process of awakening to that particular dream. And how beautiful is that? So God is this grand organized design that we have entered into when we incarnated on planet Earth, allowing the veil of forgetfulness to descend so that we could fully immerse ourselves in the game, taught to believe in separation when all along we are all part of this incredible unified field. We are all individuated aspects of the divine creator who have allowed those filters to drop down in front of our pure white light, then encourages us to believe we are so much less than we are. We're here to experience limitation, separation, and challenges that allow us the opportunity for soul growth, that brings us back into the realization that we were all aspects of the divine all along. The ultimate state we can attain here in the physical is that kingdom of heaven, where only perfection can exist regardless of how many stumbles we may have made along the way. And the point about when in life this access to the state of being is granted to us individually is a really interesting point. I believe that in our pre-birth life plan we have implanted activation points that provide opportunity to understand this glorious truth, whether it happens early or late in life. As always, we get to choose whether to act upon it or to stay with the original programming. But if we choose to activate our imagination functioning to its full power, we get to realize we've always been God, experiencing him or herself through limited states. Then we can just be, illuminating everything and everyone around us, not by doing, simply by being the light that we are. We operate in a state where only perfect solutions exist. And that journey towards that end begins with taking conscious control of the states that we choose to occupy within this holographically projected simulation. This really is so liberating. And Jolé, what would you care to add?
You know, when you speak about we're here to grow our souls, I think we can really, that resonates with us, especially from a heart centered space. Self acceptance is a huge part of being able to move through some of these obstacles, emotional, spiritual, physical, to get to unspeakable beauty or a place where you can just be, right? And things exist. But on the flip side of that, let's look at how much we're judging ourselves and other people. When we get to the point where we say, that's none of my business, or the only way I'm going to help is if it's going to be positive, or I don't have a judgment about that person. I don't have any gossip to say. If I'm speaking of another person, it's positive, it's uplifting. These little tweaks, believe it or not, help turn that Titanic of depression and anxiety. Sometimes we don't think about it because it's all around us. The competition, the detail orientedness of our programming, of picking apart things and people from head to toe, from A to Z, things like that, to figure out what is wrong to provide a solution. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. You see somebody with a problem, you want to give a solution, and sometimes we can get into the sarcasm and the nastiness of it all because it's funny and it's fun. So we think. But what it is energy, and it can be just as detrimental to you as it is to that other person, because we're all signed up for this struggle and this challenge at some point. And because of that, it's what it is, the core of what blocks us and what gets in the way. So if we can dissolve the veils of I'm different from you, I don't have to accept you. I need to monitor you and be an agent of the state and control you and police you. Once we get out of that, as long as, people aren't harming others, and we're just like whistling and going about our business and joyful and speaking to people and smiling and not worrying about the negativity, guess what? Your vibration and your frequency elevates. What else helps it? Mother Earth, because she has a lot to offer us for our soul development. Just like when you are quiet and you speak positive things about people and you shut down gossip and judgment, that does a lot for the frequency and vibration of not only your soul, but the soul of others and the planet.
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. That self-awareness is key, isn't it? Because, having been programmed for several decades, unwinding all that is not instantaneous. And now we are going through to the final section, which comes from Valia of the Galactic Federation, the final section of Humanity as a Simulation. So we will pass that over to Valia right now.
In a very real sense, the matter of your body isn't as solid as it looks. At the subatomic level, it is made of energy, light dancing in patterned motion. The more you identify with your light self, the more this understanding becomes a living experience. You naturally treat your body not as a clumsy meat suit, but as a cherished instrument of divine expression. This is the true avatar upgrade, not a technological enhancement, but a shift in consciousness that allows the light of your being to shine more brightly through the physical form. Over time, even the body's condition can reflect this shift in subtle ways. A vitality, resilience, and harmony that come from living in alignment with your luminous nature. Your senses are wondrous instruments, but they do not reveal reality in its fullness. They only interpret it through a narrow lens. Ears do not truly hear sound as it is. They capture vibrations in the air and translate them into nerve signals that the brain interprets as sound. Similarly, eyes do not directly see the world. They receive light waves, and the brain decodes those signals into images with color, shape, and depth. In fact, color and sound as you experience them exist only after this translation process. Out in the world, there are merely varying frequencies of energy. For example, a bee's eyes perceive ultraviolet patterns where you see none, and a dog's ears detect high-pitched frequencies that to you are silent. What you perceive isn't the whole truth. It's a constructed experience, a kind of coded representation of reality, tailored to our sensory apparatus. In the simulation, you rely heavily on these senses, and often assume that seeing is believing. But in light of higher understanding, you come to see that physical sight can be deceiving. The senses present a filtered, simplified version of an infinitely complex field of energy. They are like translators who compress a rich symphony of existence into a tune our brains can manage. This doesn't mean your physical experiences are false. It means there is much more happening beneath the surface of appearances than the ordinary senses report. Meditative and spiritual practices help you perceive beyond the usual sensory filters. In deep meditation, you might become aware of yourself as a field of vibration rather than a solid body. You could sense an inner light or presence that doesn't depend on your eyes or ears at all. These glimpses occur when you step outside the mind's normal decoding process. They confirm what spiritual teachings have long said. Your essence is light, and your true body is more like an energy field or a wave of consciousness. The physical senses can only scratch the surface of who you really are and what reality truly is. One of the grand ironies of this game of life is that the more desperately you chase its temporary prizes, the more they tend to elude or disappoint you. Health, money, love, status. These are like tokens or points in a vast game. They have their place and can enrich the play, but if you make them your sole focus, you end up running in circles. You obtain one thing and soon crave another, because no finite achievement can fill the infinite longing within. That longing, at its core, isn't truly for more things at all. It's for the source itself, the wellspring of all fulfillment of which those prizes are but pale reflections. The paradox is that when you stop frantically hunting for things and turn inward to reconnect with Source, the things often begin to line up in your life naturally. By seeking the kingdom within, that state of conscious union with the divine, you align yourself with the very force that creates and sustains everything. In that alignment, the needs of your journey tend to be met with ease. You may find that once you genuinely feel the wealth of love and peace inside you, loving relationships appear or existing ones heal. When you tap into the sense of wholeness and security that comes from Source, opportunities for material support flow to you, almost as a byproduct of your inner state. This isn't a trick to get what the ego wants. It's a fundamental shift in priority and identity. You realize the true kingdom of heaven isn't hidden out there in some arrangement of circumstances. It's found in the consciousness of the Creator, which expresses through you. You choose to drink from the endless well of Source itself, rather than trying to quench your thirst with the few dewdrops the simulation can offer. Anchored in that inner fulfillment, you stand in a wealth that cannot be lost. Then, if health, money, or other blessings are needed for your life's expression, they come naturally. And whether they come or go, your joy remains intact, for it is rooted in the eternal. Are you living in a simulation? The answer is yes, but with an important caveat. This simulated world is not the ultimate reality. It is Maya, a grand illusion or cosmic dream created for consciousness to explore and evolve. Awakening is the process of realizing this truth, not just intellectually, but experientially. It's like the moment in a night dream when you suddenly know, this is a dream. You are still in the dream, but by knowing its nature, you cease to be at the mercy of its events. You can engage it lucidly, with freedom and creativity. In the same way, to awaken in the human experience is to recognize that you are not the little character you have been playing. You are the vast awareness that is dreaming the character. It doesn't mean the scenery of life instantly vanishes. Rather, your relationship to it changes profoundly. Life goes on, but you engage with it from a state of freedom and love. The fears of the character diminish, because you know they were based on illusions. The desperate needs and cravings loosen, because you have touched an inner fullness that transcends the game.
You know, what I love about this series of Humanity as a Simulation, care of, the wise quotes, the Galactic Federation, and also Dr. David Clements as well. They set this thing out to a degree where it makes a lot of sense. We realize now that we have a choice about how this all plays out. So how liberating is that? Okay, so I'm just excited about putting this into action. And, to a degree, I feel I already have. And I can see things that have manifested around me, things that have happened because I created the vision and I was consistent with that. So I just feel that the way things are heading, this is a big part of where Elevated Planet is going to go. Sort of like, between where we're going now with Jolé to back us up with guided meditations and her wisdom as well. I think that this is really, the world is our oyster all of a sudden. We can now create the world of unspeakable beauty that we've spoken about for so long. What do you think, Jolé?
I agree with you 100%. And especially in the time that we're in right now, right? It's almost as if we are having the opposite energy to sort of balance out some of the stuff that's happening. And it's important that we sit in that energy of success and abundance while this is going on and we hold that space. Now, I think one of the questions is, how do you transition from a place of visualization and meditation into that manifestation? What is the bridge, right? Now, Napoleon Hill, in his Laws of Success, he speaks about the law of enthusiasm, right? Really having enthusiasm for life, for what you're doing, for who you're seeing, for where you're going. Now, that has almost been destroyed. We have, I'm listening to Guy Anderson in his second book about the clones and the Cabbage Patch Kids, and he speaks about how they tell you what they're going to do before they do it through their movies and through their TV programs and some of that stuff. And we all say, let's stay away from that. Let's stay away from that. But what we want to do is really just protect ourselves and make sure that our energy stays clean. Nevertheless, these things are there to teach us at times what's coming down, but also these comedy shows and some of the ways in which scripts are written kind of destroy the enthusiasm. It makes us very sarcastic, and we see somebody that's excited about life or excited about something, the first thing we do is roll our eyes. Like, that's too much energy. But that is absolutely the energy that we need for manifestation. So moving while you're in that meditative state and visualizing your alignment with your purpose and the details that you are having in your life, to feel that feeling for a period of time. They say only 17 seconds really is necessary to hold it, but imagine if you're able to hold that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. And this is what Joe Dispenza dives into, is being able to hold that energy to where the imagination now becomes reality. Your cells are now saying, this is my life. So it's about really being enthusiastic about what you're doing. Nobody ever says you got to go and talk about your private business, but just being enthusiastic to be around people, to have these experiences, to learn, to get curious translates into the law of correspondence, which then the universe is going to be mirroring back to you. So sitting in that state for 5 to 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day, is enough. Even 5 minutes, 3 times a day, I mean, do it while you're sitting on the commode, like, do your, I don't know, but just get into, just take a space of 5 minutes, 3 times a day to love yourself. That's all you're doing. Get enthusiastic about your life and about your future. And that says a lot to undoing some of the nastiness that's in our environment, even if it's just within us.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is such an inside job, because this is what I find as
Yes.
well. The more I steep myself in this, the more you enjoy life anyway, because the fact is
Yes.
you're putting yourself into that emotional state where you are feeling positive, you're feeling enthusiastic, and you know what is coming to you because you're actually creating it. You know you're creating it. It's having the faith. And I think it's one of these things that as you successfully change what is going on in your life to the what you want rather than what you've been led towards, that then will get you in even more in vibrational alignment with the rest of the things that you want. So then I think it then becomes like an ongoing stream, because now you completely trust it.
Yes.
Decades of programming have now moved aside because now you get it. Now you know being in vibrational alignment with that design. How do you do that? By steeping your imagination in exactly what it is you want. That gets you to that feeling point of, all your five senses immersed as if it is a wish fulfilled.
Exactly. And they talked about that, the Valier, um, saying that the senses are just a simplified version of this complexity that you are. You have so many more senses than just those 6 or 7, however many there are, because let's not forget about the third eye, the intuition. So utilizing that and trusting yourself, and an exercise that you can do to help you have faith and belief, because I also too have issues with believing. I have such a struggle with inconsistency because my faith is not where I want it to be. So I sometimes will see myself in a circle of faith where there's this light of God just beaming on me, and I'm in the center of it, and in this space everything that is positive happens. Everything that I believe in happens for me. And then in my meditation, I just kind of see this light extend out to other people, to my environment, because I need them to believe in themselves too, right? Because the more that energy and that faith is around, the easier it is for us to have it in ourselves and others. So if we think about it in terms of a detail or a visualization, the light of faith is shining on you all the time. Sit in the midst of that light. Believe in and see what it is that you are desiring or moving towards, but also move that out into your environment so that other people can partake of that energy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a very good point, because that's another thing, and I think we may well cover some of this off next week, is creating common visions, right? So again, like we do with the Pam Gregory inspired guided meditation, we're all following a similar track. Now we all do our thing individually, but the fact is that we all have a common goal, and therefore there is a degree of common vision there. And I think that, as you say, by sharing some of this energy with the people around you, you can imagine, again, it comes back to this thing whereby on our own we are very powerful creators. But if we come together, 10 of us sharing the same vision with the same level of, steeped in emotion for that particular thing, it's the value of 100, right? 10 times 10 is
Yes.
squares. So it then multiplies out from there. So this is where it's so powerful for us, not just individually, but as you say as well, Jolé, collectively as well, for your family, your friends, and for anybody in our community. For instance, a world of unspeakable beauty awaits.
Yes. And it's interesting, John, that in this time, they were saying the Schumann's resonance, it's doing its thing, and how we moved into a new timeline. But it's interesting how there's this looks like a split, right? We see all of this repealing, maybe turning back in different countries of some of the civil rights and the laws that protect us. But there is this beautiful community of light workers who is really trying to get the truth out there and keep the light going, so that it's like a North Star for people who are in distress and still in struggle. Hey, come over here. There's a better way. So it's just like the more that you partake of this, hopefully you will share, we can share and help to move the needle a little bit more towards support for humanity than this inhumane, that we're seeing in humanity, we're seeing, uh, you know, projected back to us.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it's all part of this stage play that's taking place behind to distract us. And again, it's like Pam Gregory has said, it's like, you're going down to the theatre and all the set is starting to collapse around the actors, and they're shouting even louder because they want to distract you away from the collapsing set. This is what's happening at the moment. It's all orchestrated. The fact is that by not getting drawn into the drama and instead by focusing our positive energy into the quantum field, we are making a huge difference. And these
Yes,
distractions are trying to take us away from that.
that's true. But in some of these distractions, we have to understand up underneath it is truth. And so by searching for the truth within ourselves, right? It's like it reverberates out into our environment. And we can see that because a lot of these things that have been oppressed, suppressed are now coming to light. Some of these conspiracy theories, I guess they call them, and some of the ways in which we're powerful as human beings are now coming to the surface to be revealed. And that is such a beautiful thing.
It is. And this is just an example. Humanity is a simulation, and understanding that,
Mhm.
yeah, this is all a holographic projection, it's all a game. But at the end of the day, this is a game that we are destined to move up through dimensions.
Yes.
You just know this is happening right now. And that this split is going to continue to divide. The dark gets darker, which allows the light to get lighter. That's kind of the way it has to be. So, understanding that regardless of whichever side of the fence people happen to be sat on, there is still a divine plan at play.
Yes.
So, yeah, awesome. Thank you, Jolly. And okay, so what I'm thinking now is that we head towards the meditation, Jolly. Do you think that's about right?
Yes.
Very cool. All right, so to lead us into Jolé's guided meditation this week, we have again Valia, who is going to polish things off with a final small piece before it goes directly into Jolé's guided meditation. As per the rest of the parts of this series, we won't be coming back live after that, so it finishes with the meditation. So the good news is when you're off on that higher plane of existence there, guided by Jolé's words, you could have time to come back down to it rather than being interrupted by us at the end. However, next week we're going to interrupt you all over again, because then we are completely live again, and
Yes.
we will look forward to that next week. So, right, here we go. We are going to Valia. Thank you.
This shift of identity is the essence of what many call ascension, a rise to a higher octave of consciousness, a more expanded reality. As you awaken, you uplift not only yourself, but also the collective dream. The simulation, influenced by the light of awakened minds, begins to transform. More harmonious and enlightened possibilities emerge, as if the dream itself is healing because the dreamers are remembering. Yet even these positive changes in the outer world are secondary to the fundamental realization that you are, and have always been, the timeless consciousness, a spark of source, having a temporary human experience. The game has been a valuable teacher, but you are now graduating from it. In awakening from the dream, you do not lose the world, you gain yourself. You move through life with eyes open, knowing the truth of who you are. You become the lucid dreamer, carrying the wisdom of your journey and the light of source wherever you go. We are with you, always. We are with you, always.
Okay, so put your feet flat on the floor, your palms face up on your thighs. Bring your awareness to the center of your chest. And breathe in through your nose. Take a deep breath in, all the way down to the belly. And exhale through the mouth. Inhale again. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale through the mouth. And on this breath, I want you to breathe in the beautiful energy of wellness and health. Is it cold light? Is it clear? Whatever it is, breathe it in. Let it go all the way down into the belly. And you're breathing out any stress, dis-ease, negativity. And as you take a few more deep breaths, I want you to command your heartbeat to sync up with your breath. And now, from this place of love, visualize all of the blood cells leaving your heart. See them as being heart-shaped, bringing this love all throughout the body. And every cell and every atom, this love is moving through you. And now, from this heart-centered space, visualize a beautiful grounding cord of a natural earth element. From your heart, this grounding cord, as it moves down through your solar plexus, it lights it up this beautiful yellow color. As it moves down through the sacral chakra, it lights it up this beautiful orange color. And as it moves through the roots, it's red of safety and security. And then as it begins to move through Mother Earth, through the crust and through her later layers, it travels at the speed of love as it roots itself into her core. Feel what it feels like to be rooted and grounded into Mother Earth from a place of love, love for self. As this beautiful, loving energy from your heart, the core of you, moves throughout your body as you are connected to the core of Mother Earth. And what a great way to hack the simulation. and bring in even more wellness and more energy of health. So connect with your roots and have them spread out and look for all the vitamins and minerals your body needs to be well. And as these roots that are you and this energy connects, it flows through your grounding cord. And your grounding cord and these golden heart-shaped roses blanketing the inside and the outside of your grounding cord. And as it removes anything you're ready to let go of and release, it just replaces it with unconditional love. The limitlessness of love and acceptance of self. So see this clearly. See those roots into Mother Earth, expanding and spreading out, absorbing those vitamins and minerals as they come up that grounding cord, in through that skin, that bark, whatever it is, the outer layer, where those golden heart-shaped roses that scrub are scrubbing. But on the inside, there's this energy of love as these vitamins and minerals move up into your body, encouraging you, inspiring you to eat the things that make you healthy, to think the thoughts that create health in your life. And as this is taking place, this love and these cells are moving through your body, that energy and those vitamins and minerals of Mother Earth moving up through your grounding cord. And as those golden heart-shaped scrubbing roses are cleaning the inside and the outside of your grounding cord, which is grounded from a heart-centered space. So automatically, those lower three chakras are being cleaned, disinfected, deodorized, moving out all that ego energy and moving in the energy of being guided by the higher self, a place of self-love, making those choices that serve your purpose, sitting in your heart, seeing yourself through your eyes, which is the eyes of the Creator. Let's shift the focus. So open your feet chakras, visualize them, and pull in. This time, we're going to pull in 50% Earth energy. Why? Because in order to hack the simulation, we need a little bit more reality for a time. So let's get real, let's get authentic, let's get truthful. We're going to bring in this Earth energy, the things that are going to bring us that peaceful, easy life, as our crown automatically begins to open and that 50% cosmic gold life force energy rains down from the heavens. And then boom, our aura layer is 1.5 feet around us. Our higher self knows, let me take this waterfall in. And the astral body's like, snapped in, I'm ready to receive. And your soul architecture is put together as Mother Earth realizes, all these cells are heart-shaped. So as I bring this energy into the body, I'm going to create these swirls of love too. And I'm going to move all of these vitamins, these minerals, this energy of wellness, this reality of what you need to do or can benefit by doing to hack this simulation, to move you into a state of peace, which what it requires is abundance. So what is this? We're swirling out, we're loving on the lack and disintegrating it into unconditional love and limitlessness. As it moves up into those knees, We move out that stiffness, that inflexibility. We're moving out Arthur or anything that causes us pain in this area of our body. Because what we need to move forward now, it's time. So let that energy of love meet that energy of love and come together and create movement. Oil up these joints as it moves up into the thighs. And you see this love take place, moving out all that childhood trauma, disintegrating it, turning it into lessons, motivation, inspiration. See this essence, it's 50%. Its waves are just moving through your body as it moves up into the hips, and some of it begins to go down the grounding cord, and the rest of it mixes in with that gold life force energy. And they just mix in so beautifully as their swirls start to integrate. And that love is just absorbed by your body. As you're like, I get this, I'm safe, I'm divinely protected. And that energy moves into that first chakra. And that doubt and that fear, that externally seeing yourself through the eyes of the world or others begins to dissolve because you are the creator. Safety is already in you. Lack and limitation is what is the invader that doesn't belong. Prosperity and the ability to be resilient, responsible, and to be self-reliant has always been in you. The energy of making yourself well is here today, and it's always been there. Light it up. Allow for that earth energy to bring in faith and move out the doubt as it moves up into your creative center. And this energy just lights it up and says, this creativity has always been here. All these blocks are being dissolved as that energy moves itself down the grounding cord, and you're filled up with this divine creativity and this space with which to move and expand and grow as it moves up into that solar plexus. And this energy of Mother Earth, 50%, and that gold light begins to move through that solar plexus chakra, cranking it up. The confidence, the self-love, and the esteem is the gas that's going to get you moving. So as you bring your solar plexus, your energy there, in this bright yellow color, see that energy move down into your legs as those energy, as you just see your legs kind of moving energetically, the solar plexus and all of these chakras are engaged and moving you forward with love, love for yourself. See yourself now, just from this space, making the right choices, aligning with your purpose as you move forward in this way. Get those energetic legs moving as you move up into the heart, the space of unconditional love for self, where it really all begins, as you are the creator of your own reality. So bring that reality in and let it mix in with that magic. And now it's time to pour out of your heart, open the double doors of your heart, and see this energy swirling out into your aura layer, resolving and dissolving anything you're ready to let go of and release, popping out any of those pictures, draining them, filling them with gold light, automatically storing them in your memory bank. It doesn't matter what they were, what they are. Take the lesson. Is it time to dump that memory bank, clean it out, bring in that gold light? Let those bags, they look like roses. Take in all of those files that no longer serve you, bring it into that big rose outside your aura, push, blow it up. Bring in that golden sun and that gold light into your memory bank. Bring it into your heart. and just see your heart bursting with so much love for self, which then translates into your environment and your aura layer. And all behind you and all underneath you and on top of you and on the side of you are these swirls of love. Beautiful heart-shaped golden roses, just blanketing, moving throughout your aura layer, in and out, because this is some permeable energy. I know we say they're layers, but they're actually all kind of melding into one. And you have access to any of this energy. It's yours at any time. Solidify it with these beautiful golden roses that just reflect like a diamond all of the colors of the rainbow, of joy and amusement and expansion. As the throat just sings with truth, the horns and the sounds of truth are just pouring from you, the words of love, lighting up your environment. And the center of your head is clean and clear and filled with gold light. As you now begin to see yourself, take the hands of your fellow man. There's no need for competition. It's about collaboration and integration. No need for comparison, as we are all interconnected in one. So see this energy as you take the hand of the energy of the next man, and you just see this love spreading all throughout the universe. And even though you have the hands of others and this energy is connected, there is definitely a strobe light on you, a beautiful golden light. And I want you to see this light start out around you and just expand to your fellow man. And this is the light, the circle of divinity. It's what you are. And from this space, it's time for you to create. As your heart is bursting with love out into your environment, into your fellow man, and that light is just shining, right in front of you appears this well. And inside of this well is the energy of divine creation. So all of us just take a step. We each have a well in front of us. So you can just see us take a step toward it. And that water comes up, and we're still holding hands, and it automatically just gives us what we need. And you see it come into your body, and just everything turns gold, clears up, all disease, all illness. And it just gives you what you need. And now your heart is bursting with coins, gardens, loving relationships, homes, spiritual development, connectivity. I want you to see all of these things begin to take on density in your energy field, and dis-ease and illness resolving and dissolving. That light just shines on it. That love just pulsates through it, resolving and dissolving any malignancy, any lack of sweetness, stress. What's taking its place? Abundance, joy, love, and light. As you're just this beautiful being of light and blessings, surrounded by gold. Toroidal field is lit up, and everyone around you is in unspeakable beauty, knowing that at any time you have access to this well of creation. It is now within you. As you see those coins and those houses and those books and those people and those opportunities and those experiences start just pouring out of your crown and just filling up your aura layer. And then just bounce it around on your fellow man and back and forth. You guys are just feeding each other. We're just feeding each other. So much abundance, so much love, so much joy, laughter, light. As it's just you and all around you. You are that well of creation. You are that unconditional love, the one who's always been worthy and deserving. That is the hack to the simulation. Unconditional self-love and acceptance for yourself and those around you. See yourself through your own eyes. Align with your purpose. All 7 of your chakras are aligned with the divine and with Mother Earth. And you're sitting in so much divinely authentic energy. That you are creating your own reality from this space. So take a deep breath in. Feel what it feels like to be so connected. To be so in harmony and alignment. You're just buzzing with divinity. As you take another deep breath in. As you exhale, we're going to first close the double doors of the heart. And we're just going to let this energy settle in. This love, just, it's yours. Let your love settle into you. As you take another deep breath in, take your time. Feel your sensuality, your sexuality for yourself, your pleasure. As you exhale, we're going to close that crown second rather. See it close like the lens of a camera, and that golden light ascend back up into the heavens. But that flame is there. That gold flame at any time creates that golden life force energy. It's now you. You are it. Feel that fire just moving throughout your body and your aura layer. You're just lit up with that golden light of love. It is you. You are it. As you take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, you close your feet chakras and your hands. You allow for that earth energy to recede back down. And the internal part of you is just filled with so much of what you need. You have everything that you need. You are whole and complete physically, mentally, and spiritually. And you carry that fire with you, and you carry that realness with you, and you carry that divinity with you. It's all within you. As you take another deep breath in, and you just see all of those things pop up around you, the abundance, the joy, the home, the bank account, the car, the person, the partnership, the spiritual alignment with purpose. And just sit with that for a minute. And just bring it all in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.